Thank you, sir, for your permission. I appreciate that.
Do your job.
Senator Leyva, Senator Hall has given me permission to begin with you. Senator Leyva.
That is wonderful. Madam President, after much consideration, I would like to hold this bill over, please.
Without objection. Thank you, Senator Leyva. Colleagues, we are now proceeding to file item 44. Senator Nielsen, not at his desk. File item 45. Mr. Secretary, please read.
Senate Concurrent Resolution 143 by Senator Cannella relative to National Bike Month.
Senator Cannella, thank you for being ready.
Yeah, thank you, Madam President. I rise to present Senate Concurrent Resolution 143, which recognizes the month of May as National Bike Month. National Bike Month was established in 1956 to showcase the many benefits of bicycling and to encourage people to bike. The bicycle is an economic and healthy form of transportation and serves as an excellent tool for recreation and the enjoyment of California's scenic beauty. California is ranked was ranked the 8th most bicycle-friendly state due to its 56 bicycle-friendly communities and 14 bicycle-friendly universities. Creating a bicycle-friendly community has been credited with improving the health of local residents, growing local economies, and reducing pollution and road congestion. I've been proud to support my cities in their efforts to become bicycle-friendly, and I've sponsored legislation many times to create safer routes to schools. National Bike Month is an opportunity to celebrate the unique power of the bicycle and the many reasons to ride, such as biking to work or school, riding to save money or time, preserving one's health or the environment, and exploring local communities. Respectfully ask for your support of SCR 143.
Thank you, sir. Any discussion or debate? Any discussion or debate? Seeing none, Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Allen, Anderson, Bates, I. Bell, I. Berryhill, I. Block, I. Cannella, I. De Leon, Fuller, I. Gaines, I. Galgiani, Glazer, I. Hall, I. Hancock, I. Hernandez, I. Hertzberg, I. Hill, Hueso, I. Huff, Jackson, I. Lada, I. Leno, I. Leyva, I. Liu, I. McGuire, I. Mendoza, I. Mitchell, I. Monning, I. Morlock, I. Morrell, I. Wynn, I. Nilsson, I. Pan, I. Pavley, Roth, I. Runner, Stone, I. Vidak, I. Wachowski, I. Wolk. Wolk, aye.
Call the absent members, please.
Anderson, aye. Allen, I. De Leon, Galgiani, I. Hill, I. Huff, Pavley, I. Runner.
Ayes 37, noes 0. The resolution is adopted. File item 46. I'm sorry, Senator Nielsen, for what purpose do you rise?
Return to 44.
Happy to. File item 44. Mr. Secretary, please read.
Senate Concurrent Resolution 141 by Senator Nielsen relative to Slavic Heritage Day.
Senator Nielsen.
Madam President, ladies and gentlemen of the Senate, I request that we would recognize May 24, 2016 as Slavic Heritage Day. Slavic people have settled here in America for many decades, dating back to settling on the Aleutian island of Kodiak in 1784. And we have a storied history in this very land-based state of California at Fort Ross, where there's a Russian settlement that became a part of our history. The area of one of our good senators from the North Coast represented, and I got acquainted with that area once upon a time myself. These Slavic countries came both one way around the world to another way around the world. In those early years, they came down in through Alaska. In later years, the Eastern Europeans came across through Europe. With the fall of the Berlin Wall, millions have left Eastern Europe, and even 100,000 of the Slavic Americans have settled just around this Sacramento area. You've heard me speak of them often. Coming here to thirst and enjoy our freedom to become citizens. They brought forth, as have many other cultures, a rich heritage from their countries that they celebrate here as they become productive American citizens. They have rich and wonderful histories. I've traveled in some of those countries and will attest to that. Please join me, and I would ask your aye vote on celebrating May 24th, 2016 as Slavic American Day.
Thank you, Senator. Any discussion or debate on the measure? Any discussion or debate? Seeing none, any objection to the use of unanimous roll call? Ayes 37, no 0. The resolution is adopted. We will now return to file item 46. Senator Bell, Mr. Secretary, please read.
Senate Resolution 74 by Senator Bell relative to Infrastructure Week.
Senator Bell.
There's a lot of people in California that are celebrating May 16th and 23rd and ongoing as Infrastructure Week, and this resolution declares that week for California Infrastructure Week. There's focused advocacy. We had some advocates here, media coverage, other efforts around the United States and the world telling the need for our infrastructure and its impact on our communities, economics, environment, and quality of life. California infrastructure is aging and presents a public safety and quality of life issue for all the residents. This resolution encourages our policymakers and the public to address the challenges facing California's infrastructure, to move beyond the short-term fixes and deferred maintenance, and to envision the innovative solutions and technologies and investments that will improve our infrastructure today and for the future. And I remain committed to developing infrastructure legislation this year, and that includes the transportation, housing, and other infrastructure investments that California needs to improve our state and keep our economy going in the eventuality of a economic downturn. Infrastructure investments are one of the best ways to stop those kinds of downturns. I urge a support for this resolution.
Thank you, sir. Any discussion or debate? Any discussion or debate? Any objection to the use of unanimous roll call? Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Allen. I. Anderson. I. Bates. Bell. I. Berryhill. I. Block. I. Cannella. I. De Leon. Fuller. Gaines. I. Galgiani. I. Glazer. I. Hall. I. Hancock. I. Hernandez. I. Hertzberg. I. Hill. I. Wesso. I. Huff. Jackson. I. Lada. I. Leno. I. Leba. I. Liu. I. McGuire. I. Mendoza. I. Mitchell. I. Monning. I. Morlock. Morrell. I. Wynn. I. Nilsson. Pan. I. Pavley. I. Roth. I. Runner. Stone. I. Vidak. I. Wykowski. I. Wolk. Wolk, aye.
Call the absent members, please.
Bates. I. De Leon. Fuller. I. Huff. Morlock. Nilsson. Runner. Nilsson, aye.
Ayes 36, noes 0. The resolution is adopted. File item 47. Pass on file. File item 48. Mr. Secretary, please read.
Senate Bill 1032 by Senator Galgiani, enacting to alcoholic beverages.
Senator Galgiani.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members. SB 1032 prohibits winery-funded instant redeemable coupons, also known as IRCs, on wine purchases, as well as cross-merchandising coupons where wine is sold with another product. What is an instant redeemable coupon, IRC? It's a coupon that is instantly redeemed at the supermarket's cash registers, such as a scan bag. My bill would only ban winery-funded IRCs. There is precedence for this. In 2014, beer manufacturers successfully sponsored AB 1928, which bans brewery brewery-funded instant discounts on beer. Many of us here voted in favor of that measure in 2014. My bill does not ban all coupons. It also does not stop retailers from offering their customers any coupons or discounts like the buy 6 bottles and save an additional 10% promotion, as long as the retailer pays for the discount and does not ask the wine producer to pay for the discount after the fact. Also, wineries can continue to offer discounts in their tasting rooms to their wine club members or for direct purchases made over the internet. Again, the measure only bans winery-funded instant redeemable coupons. The bill is co-sponsored by the Wine Institute, Wine and Spirits Wholesalers of California, and Southern Wine and Spirits. The Family Winemakers of California also support the bill. I respectfully ask for your aye vote and ask for immediate transmittal to the Assembly.
Thank you. Any discussion or debate on the measure? Any discussion or debate? Seeing none, any objection to the use of unanimous roll call? Ayes 37, noes 0. The measure passes. And the desk will note. File item 49. Senator Hancock? Senator Hancock?
I'm right here.
Oh, I'm sorry. Mr. Secretary, please read.
Senate Bill 1084 by Senator Hancock, an act relating to sentencing.
Senator Hancock.
Thank you very much, Madam President and members. SB 1084 makes technical, non-substantive changes to the provisions allowing a person who was under 18 years of age when sentenced to life without the possibility of parole to submit a petition for resentencing. The bill clarifies language that has caused some confusion in the courts. It literally is just clarifying wording. For example, making clear that a person cannot apply to have a parole hearing until they've been incarcerated for at least 15 years, and that this does not take away any other right they may have in our prison and parole system. There is currently no opposition to the bill, and I would ask for your aye vote.
Thank you. Any discussion or debate? Any discussion or debate? Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Allen? Anderson? Allen, aye. Anderson? No. Bates? No. Bell? Aye. Berryhill? No. Block? Aye. Canella? Aye. De Leon? Fuller? No. Gaines? Galgioni? Glazer? Hall? Aye. Hancock? Aye. Hernandez? Aye. Hertzberg? Aye. Hill? Aye. Wesso? Huff? Jackson? Lada? Aye. Leno? Leva? Leno, aye. Leva, aye. Liu? Aye. McGuire? Aye. Mendoza? Aye. Mitchell? Aye. Monning? Aye. Morlock? No. Morrell? No. Wynn? No. Nielsen? No. Pan? Aye. Pavley? Aye. Roth? Runner? Stone? No. Vidak? No. Wachowski? Aye. Wolk? Wolk, aye.
Call the absent members, please.
De Leon? Gaines? No. Galgioni? Glazer? Aye. Wesso? Aye. Huff? Jackson? Aye. Roth? Aye. Runner?
Thank you. Ayes 25, noes 11. The measure passes. File item 50, pass on file. File item 51. Senator Hernandez, pass on file. File item 52. Mr. Secretary, please read.
Senate Bill 1186 by Senator Lara, an act relating to state claims, making appropriation therefore, and declaring the urge thereof to take effect immediately.
Senator Lara.
Thank you, Madam President. Members, SB 1186 is an urgency measure that appropriates $4.38 million to the Victims' Compensation and Government Claims Board to the payment of 273 state claims. All but 6 of these claims are for reissuing state checks that were never cashed. The bill also includes general fund appropriations to pay for 6 claims for compensation related to erroneous convictions. In all of these cases, the Victims' Compensation Board unanimously approved the claims for compensation. The Department of Finance has also approved payment of these claims, all of which are valid obligations of the state. I respectfully ask for aye votes.
Thank you. Any discussion or debate? Any discussion or debate? Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Allen. Aye. Anderson. No. Bates. Bell. Berryhill. Block. Aye. Canella. Aye. De Leon. Fuller. Gaines. Aye. Galgioni. Aye. Glazer. Aye. Hall. Aye. Hancock. Aye. Hernandez. Aye. Hertzberg. Aye. Hill. Aye. Hueso. Aye. Huff. Jackson. Aye. Lara. Aye. Leno. Aye. Leyva. Liu. Aye. McGuire. Aye. Mendoza. Aye. Mitchell. Aye. Monning. Aye. Morlock. Aye. Morrell. Aye. Wynn. Aye. Nielsen. Aye. Pan. Aye. Pavley. Aye. Roth. Aye. Runner. Stone. Vidak. Aye. Wachowski. Aye. Wolk. Wolk, aye.
Call the absent members before me.
Bates. Aye. Bell. Aye. Berryhill. Aye. De Leon. Fuller. Aye. Huff. Leyva. Aye. Runner. Stone.
Ayes 35, noes 1 on the urgency. Ayes 35, noes 1. The measure passes. File item 53, Senator Wolk. Pass on file. File item 54, pass on file. File item 55, pass on file. File item 56, Mr. Secretary, please read.
Senate Bill 896 by Senator Wynn, an act relating to professions and vocations.
Senator Wynn.
Thank you, Madam President. I'm honored to present SB 896, which would require any nail salon that accepts a credit card as payment for services to also accept a credit card payment for a tip. Approximately 47,000 technicians lives in my district that works in this industry. For customers who frequent a salon that accepts credit cards, they often do not carry cash with them because they assume that they will be able to leave a tip on their credit card. Under California law, tips are the sole property of employees, and they are a critical source of income for most technicians. If an establishment doesn't allow for tips to be made with a credit card, the technician may not be tipped. I amended the bill after policy committee to ensure that nail technicians will receive their entire tip. It is important for the owner to comply with the law and that the nail technician is compensated for their work, even when consumers pays by credit card for service charge. Requiring salons that allow clients to use a credit card to also leave a tip on that card would not only be more convenient for the client, but it will also ensure that the technicians are appropriately compensated for their work. I ask for an aye vote.
Any discussion or debate? Senator Hill.
Thank you, Madam President. And I rise, unfortunately, to oppose this legislation. I think the intentions of our good senator and friend from Orange County are strong, sincere, and I think there may be a problem. And I think she has recognized the fact that there are those nail technicians that may be not getting their tips, or in some cases they do get their tips through the merchant and the operator of the establishment, and they're not passing those tips on to the nail technician. But I don't think this bill really solves the problem for a number of reasons. One, when you look at the industry, the Board of Barbering and Cosmetology today has no record, does not have an ability to identify any nail salon or any nail technician. They do not know who is a nail technician, where they are, so it would be very difficult to enforce this legislation. The other issue is that I think a more appropriate course of action would be for the Board of Barbering and Cosmetology, because anecdotally we've heard that other professions, not just the nail technicians and the nail specialists, but hairstylists, massage therapists, cosmetologists, estheticians, all fall into the same category with the same type of operator that in some cases anecdotally does not accept or allow for tips to be paid through a credit card of the establishment. So the goal really is to try and look at this, and I would suggest that the Board of Barbering and Cosmetology take a very holistic look at the industry and all of these areas of compensation within the industry to make sure that they are fair, make sure that the tips are being allocated as they appropriately should be. And I think that way we can resolve the issue once and for all in all of the areas of health care and personal care and in the spa business. And I think that would be a more appropriate way of looking at this rather than targeting one industry or one specific area within an industry. And as the author shared with me, many of these are just mom and pop establishments. And in some cases, the credit card, the fees could be passed on or would be passed on to the technician, which necessarily we would not want to see. So I think a full view of this by the Board of Barbering and Cosmetology could be a solution that we could find and a way to move forward with the issue that has been raised. Thank you. I will not be supporting the bill today.
Thank you. Senator Leyva.
Thank you, Madam President. I have to respectfully rise in opposition of this bill, in very strong opposition. Study after study has shown that when tips are added onto credit cards, many, many times the recipient of those tips does not get the tip. The tip goes to the house or the tip goes to the owner. And especially in this particular instance, in nail shops, many nail shops, if you add it on to your credit card, the owner takes a percentage of that and only gives what's left over to the person who actually performed the services. I understand that this bill would be something maybe more convenient. When I get my nails done, I make sure I stop and I have some cash on me so that I can tip the person who performs the service. It might be a little bit more inconvenient for me, but I want to make sure that the person who did the work actually gets the tip. So I can do that. I respect the author's attempt to help these workers, but unfortunately, I think it's going to do just the opposite. So I urge a no vote.
Senator Mendoza.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise in support of this measure. I do think that the folks that actually work in this industry are some of the folks that are in most need. Their pay is very low, and for most people, when they go and they pay for these services, it is convenient to pay with a credit card. And for the establishment not to allow for tips to just go to the actual employees, I do feel that I think this is very unfortunate. As the chair of labor, I do feel that we need to make sure that everybody has an opportunity to be successful, to get as much pay as they can. Some of these folks don't get paid that much. Sometimes they're like independent contractors that actually work in these salons. So we want to make sure we offer any opportunity that we can to allow them to get any extra income through tips as much as possible. And I do think this is a work in progress. I think that the author of this bill will continue to work on it and make it better. I understand the senator from San Mateo, that his concern too, he wants to look at it at a broader perspective with a broader view of other industries. I think that's great. Under his chairmanship and his committee, he could do that next year. He could continue working on that. That's awesome, but I don't think we should preclude it. We should be prohibited from moving forward, at least within the industry, who's in desperate need, and they're all over our communities. So with that, Madam President, I rise in support. Thank you.
Senator Galgiani.
I also rise in support. I agree with Senator Hill that we ought to look at the whole industry, but as someone who does get my nails done, I know that at my shop, I cannot leave a tip on a credit card, but I've had another service where I'm able to leave a tip on the credit card at the same facility. If you think that about a woman or a man who's doing eight sets of nails in a day, and if you have even just 3 of those clients that don't have the cash on them, that could be upwards over $20 in one day, $100 in a week. That's real money. So I'd like to see us look at a broader perspective, but I also think that this is a starting point that's important for some of the state's lowest wage workers, and I thank the author.
Thank you. Any further discussion or debate? Any further discussion or debate? Senator Nguyen, please close.
Thank you, Madam President. I just want to address a couple of the comments or concerns that were mentioned. I really appreciate the great senator from San Mateo and his comments. The reason why I looked at this in particular industry is 80% of the nail salon industry in California are Vietnamese American technicians or Vietnamese American owned. 80% of the entire industry in the state of California are. And so I am much, much more familiar with this community. And actually, this has been brought up to my attention. So I would, I've talked to the senator, and I don't mind looking at other industry, but I try to look at industry that affects my constituency and district, and this one in particular, in my district, has 47,000 individuals that lives in my district that has a nail technician's license. Then the other comment that was made about the tip, we amended the bill to ensure that the tip and gratuity is consistent with Section 351 of the Labor Code, which means that the owner cannot take the tip. They have to render the tip over. And if there are any nail industry that doesn't give those tips over, it's a labor law, that is in violation of the Labor Code of the state of California, and they should be reported. The idea that this bill really is very simple. It is, if the facility allows cash only, it's cash only. But if the facility allows credit cards and cash, at least allow the credit card to also be included, that you can tip as well in credit card. Don't let us choose one or the other. I use the example when I was in the committee, is that if I went to a nail salon and in Orange County, depending on which area, in my district, a full one set of nails would be maybe $30. People usually do $5, $8 tip. If the individual can pay for credit card and did not know that you can't pay tip, they end up walking away sometimes. And it's not any bad intention of the individual. It's just they didn't have it, and to go and down the street pay to an ATM machine, and that charges maybe $1.50 because it's a different ATM machine than their own bank account, then they won't get the tip. These technicians works very hard. A lot of them are, in their 50s, 60s. They don't speak English well. They came to this country as refugees or recent immigrants as well. And the only job that they can find, they worked hard, they went to school and study, and the tip is a big deal for their monthly income, and actually daily as well. And so I ask for an aye vote. Again, thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Allen. Anderson. Aye. Bates. Aye. Bell. Aye. Berryhill. Aye. Block. Canella. Aye. De Leon. Fuller. Aye. Gaines. Aye. Galgioni. Aye. Glazer. No. Hall. Hancock. Aye. Hernandez. Hertzberg. Aye. Hill. No. Hueso. Huff. Jackson. Lotta. Aye. Leno. No. Leyva. No. Liu. Aye. McGuire. Aye. Mendoza. Aye. Mitchell. Aye. Monning. Morlock. Morrell. Aye. Wynn. Aye. Nielsen. Aye. Pan. Aye. Pavley. Roth. Aye. Runner. Stone. Aye. Vidak. Aye. Wykowski. Wolk. Aye.
Call the absent members.
Allen. Block. De Leon. Hall. Aye. Hernandez. Hueso. Aye. Huff. Jackson. Aye. Monning. Morlock. Aye. Pavley. Runner. Wykowski.
Ayes 27, noes 4. The measure passes. File item 57. Mr. Secretary, please read.
Senate Bill 1233 by Senator McGuire, an act relating to water.
Senator McGuire.
Madam President, it's good to see you again. SB 1233 will allow residents to finance energy upgrades in their homes, which will significantly reduce their energy footprint and save significant dollars on a monthly basis on their utility bills. Californians will be able to upgrade to energy-efficient hot water systems, gray water systems, high-efficiency toilets, hot water recirculation pumps, irrigation controllers, and I could go on if you'd like. The legislation, modeled after a wildly successful program in Northern California, will provide local governments in disadvantaged communities all throughout the Golden State tools to fund water savings projects for those customers who choose to voluntarily participate in this program, thus helping the state achieve its continued goals of reducing energy and water use. For many residents, the upfront costs of installing energy and water efficiency improvements often create a barrier that prevents property owners and low-income residents, including renters, from making the needed improvements. Furthermore, municipal utilities and local governments lack a suitable mechanism to meet the challenges of creating and funding large-scale and rapidly deployable programs to facilitate widespread adoption of customer-side water efficiency projects. Here's how the program is going to work. The authority will issue bonds and then issue payments for approved projects once completed. The customer is going to pay their monthly bill that includes a line item for efficiency measures. In the town of Windsor, for example, under this program, the average family pays $6 every month on their utility charge, and then they save $16 every month, equating to a net savings of $14 per month per family. This is a proven program that has been wildly successful and rolled out in 3 jurisdictions in California: Windsor, Hayward, and the entire East Bay Municipal Water District. Additionally, the model that we're proposing is currently operating at 13 utilities in 6 states using federal loan funds or utility capital. To date, these programs have funded $18 million in projects and collectively have only seen $3,000 in default, less than 0.02%. Members, this is a very successful program for reducing water consumption and energy, and thanks to the great work of the Chair of Governments and Finance, who is also co-author, along with the great senator from the beautiful town of Davis, I'm happy to say that this bill has no opposition. And, Madam President, I know you're going to be excited about this. It's supported by both the Chamber of Commerce and the Sierra Club. Oh, my goodness. Would respectfully ask for an aye vote.
Senator Hertzberg.
To the excited President, I am assuming based upon the author's remarks, I just want to rise just for a moment to pause about this bill because I think it's a really smart bill. And the pipes are still leaking a little bit. It's still got a few holes that we got to fix. But here's why it's important. Because as we face challenge after challenge to finance things in government, so often we knee-jerk to say, let's just raise another tax or add another fee. This is a way where you can finance based upon savings. We're seeing this in on-bill financing in the electrical world and doing the same thing in the water world, where basically if you have bondholders who will issue the financing, pay for the costs, and the savings basically allow for the payment. And there's still some homework to be done with respect to the definition of a fixture, because you don't want people walking off and taking stuff and how it transfers from one renter to the next renter in the situation. But it really is a thoughtful way. And as we think about government, how to finance so many of these things are important. How to give folks, everyday Californians, options to do things to reduce costs and to do good things. So I think it's a really smart bill. I give great kudos to Senator McGuire for his measure, and I just wanted to take a moment to share that with the members, because I do think that there's a number of other ways as we look through government that we can come up with smart and thoughtful ways to finance things in government. Thank you very much.
Any further discussion or debate? Seeing none, Mr. McGuire, would you like to close?
Would respectfully ask for an aye vote, and I do want to say thank you to the chair for all of his work on this. He's been intimately involved and truly appreciate it, sir. Thank you so much.
Please call the roll.
Allen. Aye. Anderson. Aye. Bates. Aye. Bell. Berryhill. Aye. Block. Aye. Canella. Aye. De Leon. Fuller. Gaines. Aye. Galgioni. Aye. Glazer. Aye. Hall. Aye. Hancock. Hernandez. Aye. Hertzberg. Aye. Hill. Aye. Wesso. Aye. Huff. Jackson. Aye. Lara. Aye. Leno. Aye. Leva. Liu. Aye. McGuire. Aye. Mendoza. I, Mitchell. I, Monning. I, Morlock. I, Morrell. Wynn. I, Nielsen. I, Pan. I, Pavley. I, Roth. I, Runner. Stone. Vidak. I, Wykowski. I, Wolk. Wolk, aye.
Call the absent members, please.
Bell. I, De Leon. Fuller. Hancock. I, Huff. Leva. I, Morrell. I, Runner. Stone. Wynn, I to no. Stone, no.
Ayes 34, noes 2. The measure passes. Colleagues, it will be the goal of the House to adjourn by 1 o'clock. However, this is the work that we have remaining.